get back. It is DIScontent, bizarre campaign. And we're
I don't see how folks are getting mad when he's finding millions or millions of dollars that are being sent to. I know this is making Afghanistan so they can learn how to make baskets, or they can learn about transgender life-changing surgeries. I don't agree with any of that. So why are people getting upset that he's trying to find money that is being abused, fraud? I don't hear people when he's finding this money say, "Hey, good job on that." That's I'm glad to hear that my money's not going towards that anymore. Instead, it's like, oh, he's the president, and he's taking he's wrong, and what he's doing is I don't see it that way.
Okay, that is interesting. I mean, you're seeing it from the perspective of you only see it as he's cutting waste. You see it as you believe what he says.
Well, I do believe it. I mean, it's again, regardless if I see I watch my right leaning news, but the facts are there. I don't think they're making up these figures. I don't think they're saying, oh, we're finding this money, and I don't believe it's like they're lying or they're manufacturing fake information. I think that we are really spending money, and this whole USA aid thing, I think, is an absolute scam, and we were actually funding terrorists and giving money to causes that were anti-American, and I don't understand that. I don't know why people are upset about it. If we are finding these things, if you're to a certain, so I know where you're going to go. You're going to take it down another path, which I appreciate, because this whole show is about having differing opinions. But I don't see where someone could look me in the face. Doesn't matter if you're a Democrat, Independent, I don't care what you are, saying that some of the money we're finding should not be going to these organizations. And USAID I was appalled at what I've learned. And maybe some of it is, I don't want to say fake. I don't know. You're right. I'm going on what I'm hearing. I don't have the actual proof in front of me. I'm only being told what I see and what's being reported.
Yeah, and that's part of the problem. No one has the proof because we've only got what Elon is saying.
Right.
Elon said 50 million for condoms in Gaza. Right? And then when he was asked about it, he said, no, it turns out I was incorrect, and it was 50 million in condoms for like Cameroon. So there's a big difference there. Right?
That would be a difference, yes.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And the U.S. aid, I mean, it's like the Red Cross. It's providing humanitarian aid to places around the world that need it. This whole idea that it's waste is ridiculous.
Well, I know that some of the money goes to, unfortunately, it's like the way everything goes. You have something out there that's meant to help people, and it was created with the spirit of the fact that, we're here to help people. It made perfect sense. But when other people get their claws into, or their hooks into this money, it's going to other places. I mean, I saw something where money went to Hillary, or Tulsi Clinton. Now, I haven't seen anybody dispute that. I haven't heard the Clintons or anybody come out and say that's not true. That she did receive, millions of dollars for whatever she was doing. But I mean, I'm using that one example. But
so I don't know that example because I don't watch crazy, ridiculous news.
Right.
But what I would
that to me.
Yeah. What I would assume, Chelsea Clinton runs foundations that provide aid. So I would assume the money went to that aid. And why would you assume different?
I assume different. So I know you'd say, I watch the right, you watch the left, but I think we've gone back to this. Who's saying that the left, who's saying what you're saying is correct? I guess is what I'm saying. I mean, I know maybe he made a flub up of, okay, condoms down, go wind up.
Yeah, I don't get why you instinctively believe that side when it's so like.
So the Clintons have had a history, and if you dispute this, I don't know what else to say. They have a history of fraud and just criminal behavior, and just the Clintons. We go down the rabbit hole on the Clintons. I'm surprised they're not in jail. I have to be honest with you. It's one of the biggest mysteries, and to me is why these folks are not locked behind bars for what they have done. And I just think I think I went off of it because of their history of just lying and just everything they've done. I mean, I've never seen 30 plus people that around them have committed suicide. That's a whole different conversation. Yeah, I believe in Pizzagate. I believe in all that. I think the Clintons are evil, rotten people, and I think this was just another instance of them, taking advantage of the American people, and they're not. They're evil.
Chelsea.
So I think that's what it is. I already have a. Oh yeah, come on. Apple isn't far from the tree.
Wow. So
yeah.
Sins of the father, no matter what, fall on the children.
To a certain degree, some of the stuff depends on, I mean, there's varying levels of badness, but I'm not a Hillary Clinton fan, so, or the Clintons, I know this is just wide open conversation, but how a man like Bill Clinton is able to go out there and actually, how the Democrats trot him out there and him talking is a face of the party when this guy was almost impeached for, catching head in the Oval Office. I mean, come on, this guy is this and all the stuff that, goes on with Trump and all the stuff he's done. That was Trump. They'd have him on a cross crucified somewhere. But this guy just walked away. He's still part of the party. Like, how is that? How is that?
We talked about this a few episodes ago.
I know.
He isn't held in high esteem. And if it happened in this modern era, he would have, he'd be like Kevin Spacey or Weinstein. He'd be gone.
Right.
Guaranteed.
Right. But it's just, and here's the other thing too.
I don't understand the faith in Elon though. Like, Elon is against transgenders to a degree that is beyond most people because he has a child who is transgender, who he doesn't.
I know. I just found that out. Yeah.
Who he doesn't get along with, is publicly feuds with, and he seems to have a vendetta against transgenders because of that. And if you take that perspective and apply it to everything he is doing, doesn't it almost seem like he's just kind of, I mean, it doesn't seem like, oh, this is the smartest guy in the world just making smart business decisions. And it seems more like, well, this is just a petty small man being vindictive. I mean, whatever you think about transgenders, they're not like a major problem, right?
Right.
You talked about like transgenders in sports, like Donald Trump made that a huge thing and did this big proclamation about them. And then it's revealed like, there were 18 athletes at the college level. So we did all this for 0.01% of athletes. We made this big a deal. It's like the numbers don't back up the amount of attention it's getting. And I think the same thing is happening with all of this. Like, I mean, it's one of the first things you brought up when you talked about the aid at USAID. And if that is what is being talked about on the right-wing media, then you're missing all the other stuff that Elon is doing, the cuts to the CDC, the cuts to healthcare, the cuts to Department of Education, the thousands of people being laid off from their jobs, and the way his little henchman, bunch of 19, 20-year-old frat boys from Tech Valley High in Silicon Valley, how they've just taken over like the finances of the government. Nobody elected Elon, and he's running rampant with more power and more ability to do stuff than any elected politician has. But you bring up
Fauci, was Fauci ever appointed? Was he ever voted in? I don't know. I'm asking for a friend.
Oh my God. Fauci is not an elected official, but he was appointed, and he served under Donald Trump.
Right.
And he did his, a lot of what he did was with Donald Trump by his side, including the vaccine. You remember Donald Trump talked about bleach and injecting it, and Fauci was right over to the side.
Yes. Yeah. So here's the thing. It's so new. Okay, so let me ask you this, and this is another thing that I want to like try to grasp.
And Fauci, by the way, did everything that was within his realm, right?
Mm-hmm.
He recommended stuff, and then it was carried out by other health departments.
Mm-hmm.
Elon is barring Congress people from entering federal buildings because he wants to have privacy while he goes through their financial records.
So let me ask you this then.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay. You've already said the Clintons and the Fauci, so this must be time to bring up Obama.
No. My question is now. Okay, I'm trying to think how to word this. So Elon is doing all this, obviously under the direction or under, with Trump there. I also feel there's a lot of other, and you can disagree, there's a lot of other folks under the Trump administration that are relatively intelligent. Obviously there's folks that are probably not, in your opinion, but there are some sharp people. Why is no one else outside of the left raising questions about what Elon's doing? If he's doing something that's so bad and so against everything, why would, I'm not saying Trump, why wouldn't guys like Rubio or Cruz or these other folks who, are pro, America and are always, are looking to make sure, they're always speaking against the wrongs, and how come no one else is sticking up and saying what he's doing is wrong? That's what I don't understand. It seems like all I hear is the left complaining about it and standing outside singing songs and, yelling and screaming. That's all I hear the left doing is yelling and screaming and raising their hands up and everything's like, but they're not coming up with any good actual solutions. All they do is whine and complain. And they're, singing, like I said, I saw some stuff where they're singing songs, and I don't understand why no one else is standing up saying what he's doing is so wrong. If, because whether you're right or left, right is wrong and wrong is right, but why is no one, are they all just kowtowing under Trump and they won't say anything because they're afraid? But why is no one else speaking up about it?
You're asking about why are people on the right not saying anything?
Right. There's a lot of, it's not just that we're talking about 5 people. There's a whole Senate and Congress of hundreds of people. Like, I don't understand why no one else is saying what he's doing is, if it's so bad, why is no one else worried about it? Right. It's just, it's a right left thing again. I feel like if the Democrats were doing it, it would be okay. And that would be it.
There are some, but,
to tell me there's not one Democrat out of everybody that thinks that what he's doing is correct. Everybody thinks that absolutely what everyone on the left, all Democrats think Elon is completely wrong. Not one person can see any good in this.
No.
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. We're human beings, so no one thinks that. Everyone just thinks what he's doing. I'm trying to figure this out because I don't understand what
I can't
Why
believe you
everyone's,
think
you
it's
know,
right that he can just go into a building and block it off and take control of the building. Like,
if there's problems and if there's fraud going on and there's deceit and there's corruption, why not?
because he doesn't have that authority. No one does. That's not how government works. Not
So you're telling me that
American
the Democrats
government.
followed all protocol with their lawfare, what they did to some of the Trump stuff? Come on, Joe, you're a smart guy, and I'm not going to. No, I mean, you know, whoa, you know facts better than I do. No,
Yeah.
you can beat me.
Never.
How you beat
Never.
me is on my emotion. You use my emotion against me because you know,
Right.
But you're more calculated. I don't have time. I don't sit and watch all this shit all day, you know, and I don't know. I'm not as factual as you. So when we come into this realm here, it gets tough for me because you throw things at me and you don't budge. You're just like, oh, you're wrong. And
Yeah.
it's crazy. Elon's a racist. He's a Nazi. That's fucking bullshit, man. That's bullshit.
How is
Get
that
out in the
not?
world, man. See what's going on. Like, I don't know. Is your life that much better? Is your life that much worse with Trump? You mean to tell me under Biden and everything going on, your life was that great? No. You mean to tell me? I don't. I sometimes you're one of my best friends, but I don't understand where you come from. Your thoughts. I mean, you scratch your head, I scratch my head because I don't see how someone as smart as you can fall into this left crap and this bleeding heart shit. Like and what he's going in and doing is he doesn't have a point. But you're trying to tell me the Democrats didn't have people unauthorized doing stuff for 4 years under Biden. We've been the assassinations on a president. I mean, come on, bro. Come on.
I can't believe
Stuff
how.
that's been going on.
Oh no, never. You think Biden was behind the assassination?
Someone was. How do they make that big a mistake in guarding him and all the things that were done wrong? Oh, we can't put a sniper up on the building because it's slanted. I mean, come on.
So you think that was Biden now?
I don't think it was Biden. I think Biden. Let me tell you about Biden. Biden didn't run this country for 4 years. Other people did. Your Pelosi's, your Schumers, all those people ran the country. Okay, Biden didn't run the country. Biden was a yes man. He didn't. Biden for the last 2 years couldn't even tell you what his name was after 6 o'clock at night because he had sundowners probably. I don't believe Biden knew anything. He's a puppet. I mean, come on. He went on a debate stage and got annihilated. He couldn't even speak properly on that debate stage.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. So there's more behind this. What I'm saying is when the left is doing their underhanded stuff and they're sneaking things through and they're slipping things through and they're able to use lawfare and, I mean, even I've heard people on not just the right, but people down the middle, law professors who have just came on and said what they did to him in New York was an absolute travesty and it was lawfare and it wasn't wrong. But so this is where I'm with Elon. Like, I don't see it that way. But, obviously a lot of people didn't see it that way because they elected Trump president in an astounding landslide.
Okay. All right. First thing, let's define what a landslide is. Reagan.
Right, go ahead. Use your facts to cut down my thoughts. Go ahead. I love it.
Reagan versus Mondale.
Ignorance.
Reagan versus Mondale. Landslide.
All right, so I'm going to use a different word.
Mondale had like 3% overall, right? It was
right.
Trump had like 49% and Kamala had like 47.8%. It was something like that. All right.
Okay.
Trump had less than 50%. Mm-hmm. And the margin.
Well, landside's wrong. I used the wrong word.
Yeah. All right.
It was an over. Let's just say he swept.
Well, I mean, it was an election. There's no sweeping.
Well, he won all the electoral votes. He won the popular vote. To me, that's a sweep. No, I don't know. I'm asking what else. No. What did Kamala do that beat Trump in the election? I'm asking seriously. What did she do to beat him?
Nothing.
Except spend billions of dollars on on left musicians that obviously entertained and didn't do anything for her. What did she do? I mean, what did she win? She outspent them. That's what she did win, right? She definitely outspent Trump. Had bigger donors.
Yeah. Well,
it didn't. At the end of the day, it didn't matter.
Unlike you, I don't deny elections. Did you catch that? Deny elections.
I did.
No, Trump won. I don't like to fabricate falsehoods that it was a landslide, because, I mean, that's what Trump says, but, I mean, let's be real. Let's call a turkey a turkey. He won, right? He won. Landslide. Come on. He's no Reagan.
Well, I know. It wasn't a landslide. I'll just say it was a,
let's get back to Elon.
Big ones.
All right. What do you know about Peter Thiel?
I don't.
All right.
I don't know him.
He's another tech billionaire. You know Hulk Hogan?
Yes.
You know Hulk Hogan sued Gawker. Remember
that for the sexual thing with Bubba the Love Sponge?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
You remember the huge lawsuit?
Yes.
They did a documentary about it on like Vice or one of those channels.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this was groundbreaking lawsuit. When Hogan won, Gawker, a major TMZ-like website, went out of business because of this lawsuit.
Mm-hmm.
Peter Thiel was the billionaire who backed the lawsuit.
Okay.
Because he had been the victim of many stories on Gawker and saw that as an opportunity to, get rid of it.
Okay. Yep.
Peter Thiel is J.D. Vance's guy.
Okay.
They both subscribe to some theories about government that includes basically maybe democracy needs to change, and maybe it needs to be led by people rather than the people lead democracy.
Okay.
So that's what I think is happening. I think Elon is in that. I think that's why all the billionaires are suddenly with Trump. Mm-hmm. Because it's not really the Trump presidency. It is now the billionaires' presidency. They're getting what they want, which is the power. Trump, I think, is the puppet now. J.D. Vance is the future. He'll be the president for the next 8 years after Trump.
So what's funny is that Trump came out and said that he didn't, when he was asked if he thought that he would be a successor, he didn't say that he should be. He's like, it's too early to tell. I thought that was kind of ironic. To be honest with you. Trump, I got to be honest. I hope Trump doesn't think he's running again, because I don't disagree. I don't agree with. Big guy, we've had our disagreements on the show so far. That I won't disagree. I won't disagree with you on. He should not. No, This is it.
He's definitely said it. Trump has said, I think I can run again.
No, I will vote against him.
You would vote against him?
I'm not. If he ran for another term, yes. They just not belong. The terms are the terms. He'll be over 80 years old, and that's too old.
He might be sundowning.
He might be sundowning. It might be sundown. It is.
Wow. So we learned a lot in this opening segment.
We did.
The Clinton.
We learned that our friendship can withstand differences in opinions, which I like. Here's the thing on Elon. I'll just tell you this. I thus far don't have a problem with what he's doing, but I'm not as. I need to do more research on. You're right. I'm seeing what I see, but I guess if some of the stats are true that what he's doing is actually finding fraud and abuse, then I don't see what the problem is. So that's really, I've heard about the government's money spending. I mean, you do admit there's probably some money that's been mishandled.
Right. Like, I love how, like, is your assumption, if I'm saying this, that I think the government doesn't misspend money? Because no one thinks that. We've all heard those stories about how, oh, when the government buys new toilets, they're like $900. And it's
Yeah,
like,
right.
why don't they buy one for $30 at Home Depot? And,
So
that kind of stuff, right? That kind of stuff exists. But
so let me ask you this.
Okay.
I'm going to interrupt, but I want to ask you. This is more me asking what your honest opinion is, because USAID, USAID. Let's go back to that quickly. I'm not saying it's false. How do you feel about the government funding Politico? Now, I'm just going to tell you, my initial was that I heard and read that they were funding like Politico. And to me, that's money going from the government to the state, to going to news things. Because I always thought Politico was always against Trump. Every time I was reading an article, I'm just telling you, I would see that it was always slanted against him. Like everything he did or said.
Can I cut you off?
Yes.
Because immediately this is misrepresented. So you're getting the misrepresented side of that fact.
Well, tell me the real fact, because I do want to know. And I'm serious.
USAID, like a ton of government agencies, subscribe to news reports.
Mm-hmm.
New York Times, Politico, a lot of them are on news government agencies. And that's all that was. That wasn't we're giving Politico $900 million to support them. That was just part of a subscription service.
Mm-hmm.
They said they had the same thing with the Times. There's tons of different government agencies that have those kind of subscriptions. Just the same way a hospital might have a subscription to the Wall Street Journal so that different people in the administration can all have access to the articles or whatever. It's that kind of thing.
Got it.
It has, there's no influence, there's no payoffs. It's just normal subscription.
Okay. I heard that, so that's what I read that. And I was like, oh.
Of course, because what does your favorite news channels love to do? Right.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Understood. All right.
Yeah. We've had a great show so far, haven't we? Let's take a quick break, and we'll come back. You've got a trending topic that you're dying to talk about. Yeah.
I do.
Macro going micro going global. I don't know.
On the waves of the ocean.
Couple of little hidden gems in Rochester that people didn't even know about. Mike O'Brien, your getaway guy. I'm about to take you to my I had no idea getaways. Just search the Getaway Guy on Facebook and YouTube.
And I don't need you no more. Bitch, you get no.
We're back. Scotty, kick us off.
We're freezing. All right. I know we're having some technical difficulties here this morning, but we'll be back in the studio next week. All right. So trending topic for me this week is kind of hit home here, made national news here in a town called Penfield, which is a suburb outside of Rochester, New York, east side of Rochester. The Penfield Board of Education recently had a meeting, and a large contingent of parents attended, which turned into chaos. So the parents there were debating, they were not too pleased with a book that apparently one of the first grader or kindergartner brought home from the library. It's called The Rainbow Parade. And it's about a book. I'm just reading my notes. So it's a book where a girl takes her two mothers, okay, because it's her mothers, and to a gay pride parade. Which again, I have no problem with that. It is part of our community and part of our life, so people should learn about it. But here's where things went south. The book contains pictures of men and women showing their backsides, no clothes on. They showed some drag folks in queer, some naked pics, and they showed some men's holding hands in gear with a leather and stuff like that. So parents went to express their their uneasiness with this, and it turned into chaos. And eventually the board claimed that the folks were not asking, or they weren't disputing the things correctly. They shut the board meeting down, and now they're on a hiatus for 3 months because they feel like the parents weren't following the rules, and there's some racism involved because there also was a gentleman there that was wearing a gorilla suit with a Trump hat. So they're calling for racism on that. But this is, this was local here in Rochester. And I guess the question I'm having is why this is okay and why this is being defended. I'm not sure what the comments were by the parents. I'm sure they were maybe a little unruly, and, I'm sure they didn't follow protocol because they're upset. A lot of emotions were being displayed at this event. But, for the board to come back and not really have a reason, one of the explanations was about the books is that there's an extensive process the library goes through to get these books. But what is the process? And if there's a process that's breaking down, because I am not against teaching our children about LGBTQ lives, because it is part of life, and there's got to be tolerance, and, we don't need to be hating and things like that. But when the pictures I feel in a book would put me in jail if I just was on the street showing pictures to to kids of underage children if I didn't have this book and I just took the pictures out of the book and just showed, I can be arrested for showing technically pornographic material. I'm sure would be viewed as I just don't understand what the push to indoctrinate our children is that young into this type of lifestyle or these types of books. Again, if it's an overall understanding of of human behavior, of some men like women, some women like men, but some men like men, and some women like women. It's part of life. But with this showing pictures of bondage and guys wearing leather outfits, holding hands, it's just book. And this was a book that was on display in the library. It wasn't just a one-off. It wasn't just put there. I mean, the library was displaying it. So, that's a problem I have. Now they won't have any more meetings. So they're basically shutting down the voice of the parents, that they can't come in, basically vent. I'm sure, again, the rules weren't followed as far as them speaking. I'm sure they were yelling, speaking out of turn. But it doesn't take away the fact that these folks have a right to their opinions, and these are their children, and the board needs to address it, and they have to be responsible for this. So, and then the monkey suit got also looked at as racism, because a couple of the board members are African American. But also, I'm only going to say what the defense was. They were saying that, and this is true in Penfield, that they do have some folks that like to dress up as furries, as cats. And so he was trying to make a point, apparently, that it's distracting, to see someone dressed up in an outfit like an animal. I know, and the racism card can be thrown out there, but that was another piece of it. 800-pound gorilla in the room, but each depends how you want to view it. Each person has their own view. If it's racism, if it's not, that's up for debate. But that's kind of what happened, big guy. What's your thoughts?
I didn't really follow the story, so I heard more about the gorilla suit than anything.
Right. I feel it's inappropriate, and I feel that when the concerns were brought up to the board basically stonewalled them and used we're not going to do any more meetings because of racism, and you guys acted unruly, and we can't conduct our meetings. It kind of was smug about it, in my opinion.
I mean, I saw the video. The meeting was unruly, and it was like a big fight. And I mean, there was a guy there dressed in a gorilla outfit wearing a MAGA hat. I mean,
hey, what's wrong with that? I used to do that. I used to deliver balloons in a gorilla suit back in college, just not with a MAGA hat.
Okay.
I did balloonograms in a gorilla suit. I did.
Where were you the night of
sophomore year going to junior?
And where were you the night of the?
So I worked for a company and I delivered balloonograms. I don't. But I used to go in. I do deliver balloonograms, and they had this thing where they had like gorillograms, and people would pay to, I'd put a monkey suit on and go deliver balloonograms to people. Yeah, but I guess the bigger thing is just that this is whether they're really. This is a very touchy subject, and I don't know if I don't have children, so I can't speak to going to a board meeting, but. If my kid came home and was a kindergartner, and it showed me a book where they're showing a man's crack of his rear end, or a woman, and showing two guys holding hands walking down the street and leather bondage and things, I don't know if I'd be happy either. And also, too, the local news, which I'm not going to say which station, they were covering the story. And when they showed a picture of the book was blurred out. The pictures of the derriere of the person. So if they felt they had to blur it out, I guess my question is, why is it okay for children to bring that home when there's adults watching TV and stuff, and they're like blurring stuff out? So they obviously thought it wasn't right, or they thought there might be a little problem with it. And that's how I feel.
But this is a nationwide problem. The school board meetings
correct. I just happened to talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean,
then
it's a common problem now, and some people maybe are seeing the problems in other areas and looking for the opportunity to make the problem in this area as well. There are people who don't have kids who are getting involved, who like.
Right. Correct. It's like if I showed up.
Right. And you're
right. Because if I just showed up just to take the right stance and just be a rebel rouser.
As I understand it, the guy with the gorilla suit did not have kids at that.
I just think there needs to be a better way of, maybe not at board meetings, but maybe there's a better way of, maybe the school boards need to have separate meetings for things like this. Maybe not a school board meeting where there's business, if they want to address this, there's just got to be another way, another outlet, another way folks could come together and express maybe their displeasure or their dissatisfaction for something. Maybe the school board's not the meeting is not the right place because they have an agenda, they have things they got to get through. This is a whole separate topic that needs to be addressed, not at the school board meeting. There's lists of agendas they have to get through, and this was, so anyways. Yep.
All right. So we talked about media. We talked about the left media, the right media. We talked about what Scotty watches, which is like, it's out there. There used to be a thing called facts and information, and we don't know what happened. Somewhere along the line, media changed. Elon Musk bought Twitter, and he declared it the home of citizen journalism. And he pushed pretty hard for that to become the new commonplace thing, that citizen journalism would be the new thing. I wonder if that was his way of trying to kill actual journalism, because that is kind of what's been happening recently. If you don't agree with what's happening in the Trump White House, in particular, if you didn't agree to call the Gulf of Mexico Gulf of America, you were no longer allowed into the Oval Office for White House press briefings. For the first time in history, Associated Press not allowed White House press briefings, and it might be if Elon and the billionaires, and if they are making moves to control the government, would they want less journalism? Would they want to be able to do what they want without people questioning what it is they are doing? So less journalism seems like a goal they might want. I don't know, just asking questions. That's what we do here, Scotty. We ask questions.
But isn't the White House for the first time allowing like social influencers and stuff like that, the podcasts to come in and do? Is that right? As they consider them news sources.
Well, they're allowing.
I thought that I heard something that they let them in.
They allowed OA and Newsmax and
Okay.
There were like 5 new sources that were allowed in to replace the 5 that were no longer allowed.
Mm-hmm. Who did they allow? Who did they kick, quote unquote, kick out?
Some pretty big names. I don't have them in front of me, but
yeah, I was just saying it'd have to have been some bigger names. Right?
Yeah, it's really a sad state of affairs.
Yep.
I mean, journalism.
So calling it down the middle, like
yeah, journalism
should be allowed in there. You shouldn't be.
Journalism is dying, right? We see it locally, right? Our newspaper is barely a shadow of once was. Newspapers around.
My father can't even get the newspaper on Saturdays anymore. You can't even get the newspaper on a Sunday anymore. It's not around. It's just a Saturday. Here in where we live, the paper you can't even get it on the weekends. 2 days. It's only a 1 day paper. It's when I would go visit, it was like, honestly, it's toilet paper. There was nothing on. It was, you're reading news like it's old news. Yeah, and just to your point, like I remember back in the day, we used to have 2 newspapers in this town, the Democrat and Chronicle and the Times Union. I only watched the Times Union because of Bob Matthews. Because Bob Matthews' column. That was before the internet. But amazing, we had 2 newspapers, and now it's like barely. It is sad.
Yeah. And so.
And I will say this, regardless of if you're far left, you should always be allowed to be in a press conference. I'm not going to ever say that's right. I'm not going to be happy. Like say that's correct. That's wrong. That is wrong. I just made a comment about the public school board, about freedom of speech. So you should not be able to kick people out of if you don't like what that's wrong.
Yeah. Being able to have like free and independent journalism, that will always be the sign of democracy. Like when that does go away, that is the end of democracy, because then
I don't disagree.
You'll never know what's happening in the government because you can only have their word. And if you don't trust
it's like the Koreans.
Woo, boy.
Well, to show you, hang on here. To show you.
Oh, here we go. We got, whoa, look at, we got artwork on the walls. That is Bill Clinton, who bettered a popular course.
Yeah, I just found it out the Hillary Clinton too.
Okay.
The Nutcracker. So. All my stuff,
Yeah.
But that's when democracy's gone, regardless of who you're with or what you believe in, everyone's got to have a voice. And I don't agree with them kicking people out if they're not happy with them. That's not right.
Because we can't just take people at their word, right? Like,
right.
I don't believe any like government is going to be 100% honest, no matter who's in charge. They're always going to tell you what they think you need to know, right? Whether it's Richard Nixon or it's a Bill Clinton or it's a George W. or it's a Donald Trump, there's always going to be some level of here's what you need to know, but not the whole story. Where would we be without Woodward and Bernstein? And
yeah, but it's just, you're right. The news is just so different. I remember like Dan Rather and those folks, Walter Cronkite, that was when the news was the news. Now it's even on the side that I favor. I mean, there's, I do want to say one thing. I know there's been a lot of talk on this podcast today about transgender, and I talked about the board meeting, and I do want to say that irregardless of the feelings towards someone who may identify, or consider transgender, there's a recent tragedy here locally where apparently a transgender individual was beaten and tortured to death by 5 sickly, inhumane people. This person was transgender. And I just want to say that the details of what's coming out are still, why this happened or the reasons behind it. But I do want to say that my heart goes out to the family and to this person. And I don't, regardless of your views towards, transgender or whatever, however you want to term it as, never should there be violence. That's never the right resort to anything like that. So I believe the gentleman's name was Samuel Nordquist. But just a tragedy, and I'm sure it's going to get national news if it already hasn't. But I just want to say that no violence that's never an answer for someone's beliefs. So just want to make that comment before we go.
Okay. Again, you really set me up.
A little heavy, but
yeah, set me up for a funny ending. There's
that's okay.
No comeback for that.
No, it's not. It's just, I just want to make it clear because sometimes, I know that my views sometimes may come, against or, but I just want to say that happened, and that's such a tragedy. It's barbaric. That should never happen to anybody, regardless of their views, politically, sexually, however they identify. There's never a right. That's not the answer.
That's right. What have you always said? You don't care what their religion is.
So you say it in English.
There you go. And we'll see you next week.
Yeah, I don't care what your religion is. Yeah, that's awesome. But yeah, it's so we'll see what this week entails when we come back next week. So the person though will be doing freezing. Yeah.
Oh, this was tons of fun.
It was. And regardless, still love the big guy. So we're
we'll see you.
Can have our views, and we'll see you later. All right. Fans, enjoy your week. Happy President's Day. See ya.
Bye. See ya. So
And I feel like I'm in jail. And I run